everyone, this is CJ Novo 992 and today we are back with another brand new video. Today's video we are here as always to break down, react and discuss the latest Rangers game. Our Rangers game, now that it's finished and it's still in here, I still can't digest. Because I'll be honest with you ladies and gentlemen, this one still feels very, very raw. Especially the way the game actually unfolded and it was a last second sucker punch. And obviously I'm just starting to record the video now. Probably when you see this, maybe the dust has settled and maybe cooler heads have prevailed. But my first initial gut reaction is nothing short of bitterly disappointed in the performance and effort that I saw from the Rangers players in this game versus Hamilton. And I'm making sure to say this game versus Hamilton as well, by the way, because what we're here to talk about and a lot of the frustrations and the disappointments and the negative stuff that we're going to have to speak about for this game of football is solely based on this 94 minutes. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not taking anything away from the fantastic season that we've had so far and the fantastic moments and performances that we've seen so far in the season. What we're here to talk about for the majority of today's video will be the disappointments based on that 94 minutes versus Hamilton, because I'll just be honest, right off the bat, that is the worst I've seen us all season, and that's taken into consideration the 0-0 versus Livingston at the Tony Macaroni, and that's taken into consideration the 3-2 loss to St Mirren in the Cup. For me, this performance, the level of effort, the work rate, the desire, the patches of play was by far the worst we've been. But before I go any further down that rabbit hole and speak about how poor Rangers were in this game of football, I think we need to look at it and take a wee bit of a step back and say, well done to Hamilton, because I expected them to just park the bus and hope and pray to maybe nab something on a set piece and keep the back door shut for as long as possible, because that's basically what they've been doing for the majority of this season. But clearly, with the way the result went versus Ross County, they knew that every point is vital now for them, and they just decided, you know what, this is a free hit for us. Everyone is expecting us to get beat off Rangers, so let's just go at it. Let's get in their faces. Let's not give them none. Let's play a genuine free at the back versus Rangers and not give them a sniff in the middle of the park. There's no Jack, there's no Davis, there's no control in there, so let's just go after them and put them under the pressure, from the first whistle to the last. And they did that. It was a truly excellent performance from Hamilton, and if they can go ahead and find that level and find that going forward, then by far they will do another miraculous comeback and survival in the old top flight of Scottish football, because I haven't seen that all season long, but there was a difference and there was an aggression in there, and I think honestly you just saw that hard work beats talent if talent isn't willing to work hard enough, and that's what we saw in that game of football. They just gave absolutely everything. You saw in the final whistle there, they were all blowing out their arse. They could barely move to get off the park or shake hands or do nothing. They gave everything that they had, and I'll be honest, they got a point out this game, but they should have had all three. And trust me, I didn't want to have to sit here and say that. I would love to be able to sit here and say that Rangers went ahead and won this game and they performed absolutely perfection. Or I would much prefer to be able to sit here and say to you that we were just unlucky in the final third. The opposition goalkeeper had a world-class performance and we just couldn't put the ball in the back of net. Sometimes that happens. We were just unlucky, and that's why we dropped points. But it's the exact opposite. We had Alan Mcgregor just showing Alan Mcgregor things, and it was Hamilton that continued to batter and batter and batter, because when the final whistle went, they had 7 shots on target. We had 2. And that is honestly baffling to me, and I still don't even understand it, or I'm still barely believing that that is what I saw from this Rangers team. But before we go any further down and break down this game recap, because we need to break down the game recap, because Alan McGregor deserves us to talk about how well that he played, because he played at such a high level today that a clean sheet was the least what that man deserved, given what he gave for Rangers. But before we go down the rabbit hole speaking about the game recap, I do want to just mention one thing as well, by the way. Yes, that is a disappointing result. Yes, it is a bump in the road, but am I in no way worried about us going backwards or regressing or playing poorly or starting to bottle it or anything like that? For me, that is just absolute bollocks, people. We've drew 3 times all season before this game, and every single time we've bounced back and performed and went on another winning run, and I'm pretty damn sure with every fibre of my being we will do that again after this knock. Bumps happen, it's football, ladies and gentlemen. And the way that Alan McGregor spoke in his post-match interview, the way that Steven Gerrard spoke in his post-match interview. I know for a fact, having they two personalities in there, that squad will know and they will feel that they just performed as badly as they did. And I'm confident that the next game we will come out firing and actually play like we want to go ahead and win a game. But until the next game, we obviously have to reflect and discuss this game in greater detail. And I'll be honest with you, ladies and gentlemen, when I saw the starting 11, it did make me a little bit nervous. I was happy when I saw the front three of Ryan Kent, Cedric Itten and your boy Hadji. Very happy with that. But I wasn't as happy about the midfield. I don't know, man. Maybe I'm just getting like older now and I'm just getting more crabby. But I just didn't like the amount of changes we make in the middle. But I didn't like my midfield anchors and the spine of the team ever getting rested or rotated. And that might sound ridiculous considering the depth that we have in the team. But I didn't think you lose Jacko and Stephen Davis. I think you can take one out and rotate it that way. But for me, the two of them should never drop out the team because they just have an influence in the middle of the park for this Rangers team that just can't be explained. And I think if you watch that gamey football tip to the second, that they pretty much came on the park, you'd have saw what I was talking about. That's not me taking a dig at Zungu or anything like that as well. I know he's getting absolutely roasted online, and for me, I think a lot of that is overblown. Did I think he was great in the game? No. But did I think he was the worst player on the park? No, I didn't. He was just like a lot of the players in the park, in my opinion. Very passive and not willing to step up and make the key difference. He didn't want to be the guy to make the difference, but there were so many other players in the park that wasn't willing to do that either. And I just think because his name was newly added in the team, people are going to jump over that. But for me, Zungu wasn't any worse than Glenn Kamara was in this game and Joe Aribo was in this game. And they two have been outstanding for us all season. But they weren't fantastic in this game of football, and I think if you're your midfield players all playing at the same kind of passive, side-by-side, slightly off angle, you're never ever going to control and dictate and dominate a game of football. And the first 10-15 minutes of that game proved that and summed that up, because it was Hamilton that started the game off very brightly, despite picking up an early yellow card for leaving a wee bit on Connor Goldson, which I do think was a wee bit naughty, but I don't think it was a deliberate, like, bang, there's the red card. It was still Hamilton that was pinging passes about, flicking it around their players and getting shots off. I mean, the first shot in this game came from Hamilton, and that was down the left-hand side where they skipped away from Tavernier. They kind of just jolted past Glenn Kamara. They did a nice little pass back heel just so he's outside the actual box. First time passing, slicing and dicing, which we usually do, was getting done to us. But in this instance, after the back heel, the Hamilton player actually makes the wrong decision. He has Lee Hodgson wide open if he passes to him one-on-one, but he tries a shot and Connor Goldson is there to block it and put it out for an early corner. But that right there probably should have been the wake-up call before Alan McGregor ever had to make a save, because they just ran past four of our players like they weren't even there. Now, thankfully, we did respond a little bit to that early pressure from Hamilton as Ryan Kent goes down the left-hand side. He finds his Zungu, who opens his body up and actually drives the pass forward. That time to Hadji, who takes a touch, has a shot from range. Yes, it goes wide, but we needed to see more of that for Rangers, because we were just sort of walking it in or trying to walk it in and pass it around like we were playing walking football. But one of the few times we actually sped it up and played direct and got the ball forward, created an opportunity, and again Hadji just put it wide. And 10-15 minutes after that, we had to wait for the next opportunity when our Rangers player decided, right, let's quicken up, let's do something, and it fell to Joe Aribo in the 32nd minute. That's right, we have to go all the way to the 32nd minute to talk about the second highlight from Rangers in this game, and it was just a ball to Joe Aribo in the middle of the park, and he just decides, right, I've got a guy one-on-one with me the whole game. I believe that I'm better. I'm just going to go ahead and try to beat him and try to make things happen. It was one of the few times it happened in the entire game, but he does it. He leaves the guy for dead, drives forward, has another shot that goes just a whisker wide. But every moment I saw that, I went, right, hopefully they get more confidence for that. But there just wasn't enough of people willing to take whoever was on them one-on-one to try to make things happen. It was all, no, you step up, no, you step up, no, I didn't want it, you step up. And that's never winning you a game. Speaking of winning a game, by the way, we nearly threw that away in the 36th minute, where once again we're trying to pass out at the back. Hamilton are just coming after us. There's one-on-one on every player. We don't have any space. We don't have any time. But it was like we were robots and we weren't adjusting, because we've only got one way of playing in that first half, because we try and play out for the back. There's a guy on Connor Goldson. He forces a pass to Hallander, who has a guy on him, and the pass is absolutely horrific. I love CB number 1, but that pass was a hospital pass for Connor Goldson. Hollander can't control it. It gets nipped in behind him. And then it's a one-on-one. But thankfully, Alan McGregor is there. But why are we even trying to pass it out there when there's guys on every single player in and around their defence? Now, there was more slog and more sideways passing and disappointing play from Rangers all the way to the 44th minute, where once again we just have a little spark to come alive, and it came from Ryan Kent as he's in the middle of the park. He drifts to go left, he turns back, he puts the Hamilton player on the ground, he then spins round, drives right at the box, cuts inside and wins a free kick about that away from going inside the box, very close to the actual goal. And again, we've got some fantastic free kick takers. We've got Tav, we've got Barisic, and we have Hadji. But once again, despite being really close to the box, we try and go up and over, and we've never done it all season. I don't think we've actually had one on target from that range all season, and it's just yet another opportunity that I just sit back and I go, can we no maybe give Hadji a go? Can we no maybe try and hit one underneath the wall now and again just to try to mix it up? But we didn't. It's hit by Tavernier, it goes over the bar, of course it does, for that range, and that sums it up for the first half. Countless opportunities, countless corners, countless dangerous free kicks. Every single one of them was wasted. I mean, twice from our corners we put it as offside. How does that even happen? To half time, and I think all of us had the exact same reaction. What was that? But we all knew the second half would be a different animal for Rangers, because I was sure that we would go on at half time and we would adjust and we would change things and we would just play quicker, because this is the first time all season that a team's actually played free at the back versus Rangers. We just didn't exploit it, we didn't react, we just continued to play the same slow, methodical way, and it just didn't work because Hamilton were in our faces. But we knew that was going to adjust and that was going to change, and it did in the second half, thankfully, as we started to go a wee bit more direct, we started to go a little bit quicker. The first opportunity comes just 10 seconds in to the second half, believe it or not, as Ryan Kent does very well to sort of fake to come inside, then spins in behind, pulling the defender away, gets down the left hand side, but his end product wasn't good enough, as it's neither a shot or it's neither a cross, as it just hits the side netting, and you're thinking, just chip up to it, man. We've got a target man now. Why are we not crossing it? Our brightest start in the second half was nearly ripped away from us in the 53rd minute, where once again more slackness and more sideways passing does invite Hamilton to come nip the ball off us. And this is in the 53rd minute now, and this right here should have been the instant we were talking about winning this game of football, because what Alan McGregor does is absolutely brilliant, because it's a set piece from Hamilton, they pile the ball forward, Connor Goldson does originally well to win the header, then for whatever reason we try to pass the ball back the way when we've got guys on us. The pass is absolutely shocking from Glenn Kamara. It doesn't have pace, doesn't have power. It's nipped to Tavernier, who I think thinks the Hamilton player's going to get there, so he doesn't get stuck in. He doesn't want to give them a free kick. He doesn't do anything. He loses out on that 50-50. It falls to Hamilton. They have a shot inside the 6 yard, no, inside the box, sorry, which is very well saved for Alan McGregor, but the rebound ends up hitting off a lander and drops to the Hamilton player 6 yards out. But somehow, some way, Alan McGregor is up and makes a point-blank reaction save from 6 freaking yards. And that should have been the instant we were all talking about, saying that was the McGregor moment in this game that allowed us the platform to go ahead and win it, because that right there was absolutely sensational. But it wasn't, ladies and gentlemen, because 5 minutes after that unbelievable double save, Alan McGregor was then forced to make another save as Barisic is too close to the centre half. It leaves Hodgson wide open and the ball goes all the way to the back post. The guy's clear, the guy's open, and he has a shot across goal, which is very well saved by Alan McGregor once again, forcing another set piece. Thankfully, we're good at defending set pieces, or this could have been a disaster class from us. Then we ended up making a change where we took Cedric in off the park. And for me, I know some people's going to look at this and say, oh, we didn't score or anything like that. But for me, he was the only one outfield right up to the moment he came off the park, who was even at it. His first touch was good. He was bringing people in. Was he giving away silly fouls? Aye. But it was a physical contest up there, and he continued to try and link up with people. But the midfield was non-existent. Aribo was back playing centre mid, which we've spoken about so many times on his channel, just isn't his best position. He's better when he's closer to the striker, but it was just all off for the laddie, and I felt so bad for him coming off, because if we just played like we normally do and have Aribo going forward and have crosses in, I'm sure he'd have had Mayer to actually go ahead and attack, but wasn't he? He was having to drop deep and try and build things for other people to try and come into the game. No, the other what about? But he wasn't the only change in the game of football. Zungu came off the park and Ryan Jack came on it, and for me, you saw the difference right away. You saw that defensive awareness, you saw the sturdiness, you saw the hard tackling, and you just saw the yapping for Ryan Jack. He was just screaming at people saying, what are you doing? Did you see the highlight when he looked at Tavernier and went, just calm it down, come on son. You saw him speaking to everyone, and for me he was excellent when he came on, and that's not me just being a big fanboy or anything like that, because you look at it, when he came on, he created a massive opportunity for Ryan Kent as he disguises a short pass. It's unbelievable. I mean, on the left hand side, he sort of winds up to shoot, I should say. He then just reverse passes it in past the defence, giving Ryan Kent an opportunity inside the box, but Ryan Kent pulls his shot wide, and that right there was huge. Speaking of huge, by the way, Hadji tries to beat someone in the middle of the park, he loses it, then the Hamilton player just runs past Glenn Kamara as he's sort of staring, waiting for someone else to go and chase him down. It eventually goes right to our box, and it ends up being a foul for Hamilton late in the game of football, and it is fired like a bullet. But yet again, Alan McGregor's there with a fantastic save to keep it being 0-0, because honestly there can be no arguments. The way the game had unfolded and the way the game went, it should have been 3-1 to Hamilton at this point, if we're being honest. But thankfully McGregor was at his McGregor best, and thankfully we went ahead and made another change as Stephen Davis came on the park. For me, the two best midfielders at the club, Stephen Davis and Ryan frickin' Jack, and you could see the controlling and the calming influence in the middle of the park, and it was no surprise to me that when they two linked up, we got better, and the first goal ended up coming, and right away it's just a moment of magic from Stephen Davis. It's the first time direct ball in behind the defence. It's fantastic. It finds Barisic. Barisic gets wide, whips in a driven low cross, which is always dangerous and hard to defend, and it proved that because the goalkeeper ends up flicking it up the defender at the back post, and it goes in to make it an undeserved 1-0 to Rangers. 83rd minute in the game. This right here is absolute daylight robbery, but I couldn't care less, ladies and gentlemen. Somehow, some way, we went ahead and took the lead in the game, and you're sitting back saying, thank God, let's just be mature, let's just control the game, let's manage the game and see this bad boy out. But we didn't, ladies and gentlemen. Despite a couple of chances in the last 5 minutes to actually kill the game off, a couple of half opportunities for Tavernier to have a shot, Scotty Wright does very well to spin in behind. We had a couple of wee half opportunities to put this game to bed, but for me, the tail of this game is the last minute and a half, right? There was 4 minutes of RE time for Hamilton. We had the ball at the 93rd minute of the game. There is 60 seconds to go ahead and snatch a 1-0 win away from home when we've played the worst we've played all season long. But instead of going into the corner and seeing the game out like we have done many times this season, we kept trying to play, we kept piling people forward. I mean, Tavernier is going forward trying to put pressure on the left wing back, but it is Ryan Kent who ends up losing the ball in the middle of the park, and Tavernier's out of position. The ball goes down to the left hand side. I love Stephen Davis, but he's not the quickest. The boy he was up against is very, very quick. He gets beyond Davis, whips the ball in, it goes to the big centre half, and it is truly a world class save. Honestly, it has to be a goal. No way McGregor should get there, but somehow it gets low and he pushes it out and digs it out for going into the back of net. But once again, he's let down by the fullbacks, man, because Barisic is nowhere near the player he's marking. Nothing, as there's a free player, Hamilton, in there to come ahead and smash it into the back of net and tap in the rebound. And you just look at that goal and you sit back, and it's the 94th minute, the last second, the whistle blows after they score, and you just sit back and say, not only is that deserved for Hamilton, and you've got to give credit that way, but that is so damn harsh on Alan McGregor, and the defence and the midfield in the last minute of that game, and the attack as well, really let him down, because we should have saw that game out. No saying we deserved to win the game, but we should have managed the game better and just wasted time and got the game and done with, because you're going to play bad in games. It's time to adjust to that, learn it, go back a bit and just see the game out. But we didn't learn our lessons from previous times this season. We get stung once again, and for me, the defending right there was absolutely bogging for both fullbacks. Barisic in no man's land, and Tavernier gone forward in the last 30 seconds. But that's it, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. If we're talking man of the matches, for me there is only one name that comes to mind, and that was Alan McGregor. He stopped it for being a cricket scorer at Hamilton, and no, I'm no kidding. if you missed the game. But that's it, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. That's all I've really got to say about this game. Bitterly disappointed, bitterly frustrated, so pissed off, so angry. But again, I'm counting the seconds to the next game because I want to see this Rangers respond like they have done several times this season and get back to where they should be at. Hopefully they can take this as a very, very painful kick up the arse and take it and use it to go and funnel and going on another fantastic run. But that's it, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. I've been CJ Nova92. Thank you so much for watching. All the best and bye.